Hey guys, welcome to another series, Beast Quest Series 3. Book 1, TORGOR the Minotaur. Just finished reading it. This is like the second time I've read this book. The first time was back in school, a while back when I was in year 10 or 9, one of the two. I remember a few things about this book, the wasteland and the beast and where they fought, but I didn't remember everything. Or maybe because I wasn't paying fully attention to all the detail. But I felt when I reread it a second time, there was a lot to get into. And of course it's a new series, so there's of course a new plot to explain as well. So I'm going to cut things straight to it. The new series starts off with Tom and Eleanor and friends going through the Lion's Gate where they've last fought Trillion, that's it. And they enter through through the gate where they come to Gorgonia, which is Malvel's kingdom. They encounter a human called, I think it's a human, Curlo the gatekeeper, and who's an eerie old man who's basically on no either side, he says, and he's just the gatekeeper of the gate. So Tom doesn't trust the guy, neither does Eleanor, but can you really blame him? But the gatekeeper does tell them which direction to go, and he points to the mist and they head through the fog. This wasteland kind of reminds me of another Never-Ending Story reference with the Swamps of Sadness scenes, where you see Storm struggling to go through the mud and slime, but it kind of reminds me of the Dark Jungle as well. Yeah, because they go through these marshes, and it does look very similar to the Dark Jungle. Oh yeah, when Tom keeps going through, before Tom heads towards the marshes, his armor, the golden armor, what he got last series, that gets taken away. Tom thought that it might be Malvel's doing, but no, it's actually a good thing. Turns out that Wizard Adaro has broken free from Malvel's spell, or imprisonment, whatever, because he's collected all the pieces of armor. So he says that the armor has been returned back to King Hugo's palace, and he's going back there himself because he doesn't have enough energy here or enough power to sustain himself, so he's got to go back to Avantia so he can recuperate. But Tom is given a new quest here because there are 6 evil beasts here that are evil, and they need taking care of. Because these evil beasts are capturing the good beasts of Avantia, so that no one will protect Avantia, allowing Malvel to take his chances and taking his chances to overthrow the kingdom. So that's the new quest so far, what we know. Let's see, take my notes here. Yep, that is it. Tom does also figure out that plan also, and they go through the marshes and face the dangers of the swamps, which does remind you of the Dark Jungle incidences, which I've said before. If I haven't, hopefully so, with Claw and all that. Despite the fact that Tom doesn't have the armor, he still has the powers that it's given him, because I guess he's worn it for such a long time. Its powers have passed on or flowed through him. Not full strength-wise, like it's on him still, but enough that it can still give a point, which is mentioned several times through the book. Eventually Malvel gives them a map, which seems very hesitant. Why would you give your enemy a map? But apparently, since they're in Malvel's kingdom, Malvel's going to have fun with them and toy with them. Because unlike Adaro's map, this map leads them into probably some dangers. Because Tiger shows up, right, in the story, and because that's the story, the plot. Malvel's trying to lure the good beasts through the Lion's Gate portal, and from prison them in his kingdom. So the evil beasts are making sure they stay there. Tiger shows up, rides past them, and they go after him through the swamp marshes. Mal gives them a map, and it says that Tiger's passed through a village. They go to the village, and it turns out all the people in the village hate people from Avantia. So that was just there for Malvel to have his laugh in. So the map is pretty untrustworthy, but it's the only thing they've got. So Gorgonia is not the friendly of places. Eventually they follow Tagus' blood, because apparently he got wounded again. Like in the last book, Trelion, he did get wounded. And now it's happening again, oh my god. But he's caught in a jaw trap, which is used by the new beast, who is TORGOR. So, but he actually writes the his name on the thing. So they have to try and break free of the trap. Fortunately, none of their weapons are doing anything. So Tom realized that the only one who might have a chance to break this is TORGOR himself. So Tom and Silver go to find him, while Eleanor and Storm stay behind to look after Tagus, who's wounded. I like Silver and Tom together because they're a good team. If again referencing to Claw the Monkey, which, oh my god, there's so many references to that book. You know, didn't like it much. I like this good pairing because they work well together. Tom follows the blood with Silver. The blood stains fade away because he goes into water. Then they use Silver the Wolf, but even though it's water, he can't check the scent because the scent's faded. I believe Tom is curious what to do now. Then a tree crashes down near them and nearly kills them. They dodge it in time. Eleanor rushes to the rescue to see what was up with Storm. Then behind them, TORGOR shows up because he's the one who knocked down the tree. And then the fight begins. Let's see, check my notes. I like seeing Tom's ever. Tom. Yeah, that's it. Alright, so TORGOR sees Tagus up the tree, and he just beats up the two and goes straight for him, and despite Tom's speed token that he got from Tagus the Horseman for his shield, apparently the beast's hind legs are too fast for him, he's taking 2 big strides, and he gets to Tagus first. He's about to raise his axe, but Tom uses his shield to block him from doing so for a few hits. Then he tricks TORGOR into slashing the chain, and then he comes up with an idea. Then Tagus goes, fights TORGOR, bends one of his horns, which turns out to be where he gets all his strength, which enrages TORGOR. Tom uses this weak point and goes for his horns, but Ellen distracts him. And then he gets the sword out and whips it on the other horn, I think. Yeah, he does. He does some slashing there. And then eventually he aims for the red jewel on his axe gets fallen out. And then it imprisons, because when Tom hits him the jewel falls out of TORGOR and it collapses to the ground. And then TORGOR gets encased into this ruby amber substance and imprisoned that way. So they take the red jewel, and Tom also takes the belt thing that TORGOR is wearing, and it turns out it actually has woven down to fit Tom. So it has 6 slots in it and it turns out the red jewel fits in one of the slots. And turns out this thing is basically the new token piece of the series. Like the shield and the golden armor, this will help him communicate with the beasts. He puts in the red jewel and he's able to communicate with Tagus. So Tagus informs them that the other beasts are here in Gorgonia, come on, it's a new series. And his quest is to find the others and free them. Tom has a good idea, which is the next one. After using the Epos token to heal Tagus, Tom thinks that Epos might be the next beast, and Tom sets off on a new quest to find probably Epos the Flamebird with his new token piece, the belt piece, so he can communicate with the beast better and fight fight the remaining 5 evil beasts around Gorgonia's kingdom, and hopefully capture Malvel once and for all. Overall, I'm okay with TORGOR. It's kind of a better version of what we've got. On the previous since it's the first book, there's not much comparing it to. The only thing to compare it to is probably the first being, like, it's probably the best first book so far, I'd say. But then again, that's kind of its flaw, because it has a lot of chapters focusing on setting up Gorgonia's plot, and there is a lot of plotting. It is kind of confusing at times, and do you know what chapter you get to the Beast? Chapters like 8, 9, or 10, and then and there are 10 chapters in the book, so like they have a lot of stuff to set up before they get to the actual Beast. And since the start of the series is Beast Quest, you won't be getting to your Beast until the last 3 chapters, just so you know. But it's not. I'm sure there's going to be. I like the design of TORGOR. The Beast is actually pretty cool. I like MINOTAURs and all that, but I really didn't mind this as a good starting book. But the only thing that dragged it down was there was too much focus on the plotting. But I get under why. But this is more of a starter, and I'm sure there are other books down the road when we get to next time. Speaking of next time, I'm going to be looking forward to the next book. So until next time, guys. See you on with Book 2. Hi guys, welcome back to Beast Quest Series 3, Book 2, SKOR, the Winged Stallion. I just finished this one. I'm gonna cut straight down to the plot of this book and get on with it. Let's see, check my notes here. After defeating TORGOR the Minotaur, Tom has wounds, and Eleanor heals him up. Let me just get better in my chair properly. And they heal them up with the herbs. Oh, in the prologue, it shows like there are some rebels. That means to me that this kingdom wasn't originally Malvel's. It looks like there were some people before him. That's what I'm implying. And then Malvel's forces came over and took the kingdom. But that was in the prologue. So in the beginning of the book with Tom and Eleanor, Tom's getting his wounds healed up by Eleanor's herb medicine stuff, what he got from Sultra and that book a while back. Adaro shows up in the water when they're drinking from a good river. That the next beast is called SKOR, but they don't know what it is. But he does say a riddle that it's something to do with earth and air. So they're wondering about that. Eventually, though, they get more thirsty again later, but the water, they come into some more dangers, where there are these dirty, disgusting lakes, and so they don't go and drink for a while, which makes them feel hungry and thirsty. Then they come to a cliff, and then they fall. Tom nearly falls, though, but Eleanor catches him, because he nearly falls, and he's hanging from, like, that foot piece, which is a foot piece on the saddle, but Eleanor pulls him up. And then Silver finds some berries for them to eat, but it turns out they're poisonous, and they have to cross a bridge now to get to a rainforest where Epos is. So they eat the berries, sadly, they spit them out as soon as they can, and eventually they fight this bridge scene, which is a very good scene. It's a very creepy scene with the bridge. While they're poisoned, they have to fight the dangerous winds, and there's this creepy eagle that watches them, and finally the creepy eagle breaks the ropes with his talons, and they fall. They fall into a gorge, but using the ropes from the bridge, they climb out of the poison, and the poison wears off. So they use ropes to climb out of the gorge, and the poison wears off. However, despite the fact that they've made it to the rainforest, where Epos is, they find a hoof print which is 10 times bigger than Storm's. And of course, behind them, SKOR's there. Yep, it's time to fight the beast. So, where am I? And to be honest, I thought SKOR is actually the same size as Storm, but no, he's actually 10 times as bigger, which makes him that much cooler and that much intimidating to fight. And apparently he's not alone. This is where I get to one of my major gripes about this book. I mean, I love it so far. It's really great. It's actually better than Minotaur, TORGOR the Minotaur. Easy, that is. But this is where it gets narrow to me. They bring back a character from a special book called Seth, who is a villain character, who helped with, like, the 2 dragons, or was involved with that book. And now I don't know how to feel about bringing special characters in, because it's gonna... readers like me who only read, like, the main books, is, like, confused, like, who the hell is this guy? And so it feels like they're popping new characters out of their arse. Even though these characters have been established in special books, they haven't been introduced. I didn't know... It's hard to get them clashing with the main series. So this might happen again, probably, and since at the end of this book, this character does escape, he's probably going to be showing up again, and I have read the Dragon book of the 2 dragons back in school, but if I eventually reread that, it's going to be very confusing. So that is the only plot hole of this book, to be honest, with the whole Steph stuff. But it is nice to have another villain involved besides Malvel. But of course he is working for Malvel, and he is trying to help SKOR out with this. At least he gives someone to ride SKOR, you know. They find Epos in a magic nest, which is making her unable to fly. SKOR and Sepha return, and they fight the 2. Eleanor fights Seth, and she captures him up, while SKOR fights Tom in the trees, up ground and above. Eventually, Tom needs help. Eleanor leaves her post to help him out, while Tom comes up with a plan to beat the beast. He finds a whole horse trick that makes animals resound. It works, causing the beast pain, and eventually it knocks loose on his hind leg. There's an emerald in his hind leg, and that falls to the ground, which freezes the beast into amber. I'm guessing the waves of the noise probably loosened it or made it knock out somehow. Oh, and another thing, SKOR couldn't bleed, which is why he had to think of another way of beating him. But of course, the emerald does fall to the ground and hardens up SKOR into a green statue. And it's nice to have a winged a Pegasus beast in this as an evil creature. So, yeah, but Seth gets away. Tom delivers another nice line in here. It says that I will not let Malvel triumph. But they do beat Epos by using the emerald they get, and that heals broken bones even off beasts. So it turns out I was wrong with this plot. Apparently it's not just the same ability that Tom gets, because like in the first book he gets a red gem that gives him the ability to communicate with beasts. In this one he gets a gem, an emerald, that is able to heal broken bones. So he does get different abilities, which is a nice thing to hear. And overall, I like this book. It's actually, like I said, I do like this book. It is better than TORGOR the Minotaur, but that is pretty easy to get by since TORGOR is only there for setup. Still, it felt the same as TORGOR in a way, because like the beast didn't show up to the very end and stuff. But there was more to it this time. That there were some surprises, like Seth showing up, a new villain that I wasn't aware of. I did say the problems with that, but there are some good things with it as well. Seeing a lot of things, like more of the threats. I mean, overall, this book felt more enjoyable to watch, or no, enjoyable to read than the first one did. Overall, I liked it, and of course the fact that it leads up into our next one with Naga, the sea monster, and of course we know what that means. Sepron is the next good beast to be freed. I just want to say before I head off that there is this sort of vibe so far with the beasts that Malvel has under his control. He had a Minotaur, and now he has like a Pegasus beast, and he likes the Greek stuff. But yeah, this is it so far. So next time I'll be doing Naga, the sea monster. Hi guys, welcome back to Beast Quest, Book 3 of Series 3. Right now, this is Naga, the sea monster. Just finished reading it. Naga, I like this book actually. It's pretty, I'm gonna say so far it's the best one yet. The name's cool, that's a nice plus. But Naga itself, the book, is pretty amazing, and let's go get this off. So the book starts off with Malvel is up to his old tricks again in Gorgonia, as he's using the map to trick Tom and Eleanor to go different directions. Because they go on this path, but it turns out it's got rocky stones on. So they try another route, but then that has quicksand on. And eventually this leads to Storm getting trapped in some quicksand. So Curlo shows up, Curlo the Gatekeeper. Now I haven't talked much about Curlo, but this is like, he's done this in the last 2 books as well, but he's helped in a way, but the characters don't understand. He does help in ways that doesn't say, oh, I'm helping. It says that I'm helping, but I'm not telling you that I'm helping. It's kind of confusing, but you'll notice when you read the book. So he gives a signal that gives Eleanor an idea to free Storm. So they use that idea and Storm's out of the quicksand. However, when they get him out of the quicksand, I mean, I do like the scene with the quicksand. It is a very good, desperate scene. But when they get him out of the quicksand, then Eleanor ends up captured by this bounty hunter guy called Gent, and he has a bunch of cronies with him. Turns out that Tom and Eleanor are both wanted alive by Malvel. Kind of figured that one might be the case because, well, they're enemies of him. So, and apparently that these people have been misused by Malvel, saying that, oh, these people are evil and stuff. So I guess the people who support Malvel think he's a good guy. Sure, Malvel's a good guy, alright. Anyway, Malvel, sorry, wrong person, Gent, I mean, that's how pointless his character is. He's like the Jango Fett, or the Boba Fett. He does barely do anything, but he's just awesome or whatever. Okay, so Gent, the bounty hunter, captures Eleanor and rides off on a horse, while Tom gets his sword out and fights off the goons. Finally, Tom is managing to do some more stuff, and this is another reason why I like this book. He gets to fight something besides the beast. Not much you get to see that. And it does show that despite the fact that he's a boy, he's still enhanced by the powers of the golden armor, so he's able to defeat them. He gets on Storm, and then there's an awesome chase. I mean, this book, you can see why I'm liking this book, because every time something happens, something amazing happens to follow it. First it starts off with the map, wrong directions. Then it builds up to the quicksand scene, which is another good suspenseful scene. Then it changes text to the bounty hunter stuff, and that's a good scene. But then that builds up to the chase scene, and that's a good scene. You see, this is a really good book. I like Naga the Sea Monster. And to be honest, Naga's barely in the freaking book until the very end, and still I'm enjoying with it. I know I was rallying on about the Minotaur one, but for that it didn't work because it was setting up. But for Naga, it kind of works. Anyway, so Tom and Storm chase after the bounty hunter, but the bounty hunter is actually pretty smart. Now, that's another reason I like this book, because the bounty hunter is a smart fella. He takes his sword, whacks it on the side of the mountain, which causes a rock slide on our heroes, and allows him to escape with Eleanor. Tom, you might hear some noises in the background, it's just my sister. So they head towards a town, and turns out Tom sees Eleanor. Because they lost direction, but they do recapture the direction when Silver the Wolf again helps out because he's a wolf and he uses his scent to track down Eleanor, and they find him in a town. Turns out they're being tortured and abused by the town by throwing, you know those stands where you're hanging from your hands and your head. Turns out that Eleanor and this girl called Adora, who was in the prologue, that they're being thrown at stuff. Tom just says, F it, I'm not going to sit here and do nothing. So he lets Silver go loose on the people, and he breaks them out. And then, so basically that means Gent the bounty hunter just left these two unprotected and left them in a shackles, which is kind of a stupid thing. And we never see this bounty hunter again, so whatever. And so they get Adora out there, and they go somewhere safe. Oh yeah, she explains that her brother is dead, and turns out, to be honest, her brother is actually dead. So yeah, this beast actually does kill somebody. I mean, the other beasts might have done that, but sometimes it's barely shown that they do. That's just from my reading of the books, though. But this is one chance where I actually saw that, oh, the beast actually did something. It just made me feel more, yeah, these beasts will kill you. And since they're under Malavel's control, and, well, they're not, these are Malavel's beasts, they will do it, and they did. Which makes the situation more desperate and more determined to get this quest over with, because Malavel is a really bad villain, as we all know. And that scene with Adora is a very good sign of how the emotions felt in that scene, so that's another reason why I like this book. Adora marks the location of the rebel camp, so in case they need help, they can go to it, because she helps them with the map, and that's another good bit of elementary there. They go to the Black Ocean, which is where the next beast is, and we know it's called Naga, which is a really great name. I love Naga's name. And Eleanor knows how to work ships, because apparently Adora told them there's a secret rebel ship they can use to help in the ocean. So we take that ship. Eleanor knows how to fix it, because she's been on several adventures. So she's not only good at herbology with herbs and medicine, but she can also do stuff with boats, which is incredible. Now, thanks to Tom's experiences on the past two other books every time we have a new series, this has to be like this water beast, apparently. We had Sepron, we had the giant squid with Zephyr, and now we have Naga. And Tom actually makes us aware and takes that experience into account. So, like, I've had this past experience and he doesn't do well in the water, so he decides to take the beast to his advantage and lure it to the ground field. So it's good that he's getting smarter through the adventures. Tom nullifies Sepron, and apparently they think he's dead. Naga shows up, and then the big fight goes play. Tom's plan works. Naga is led towards the shallow water. They're about to get the upgrounded on him, but then Sepron comes in, gets some biting, and he's alive, so all's good. But apparently the beast is too powerful for him because he has so many heads, and Sepron is weakened. So, eventually, Tom comes up with a plan. He tells Eleanor to fire an arrow to the right, past Naga. She does, with a rope attached. Tom grabs the rope, and he redirects the trajectory of the arrow with the the golden boots. I think it's golden boots. Yeah, it's golden boots. And so he ties up all the heads together, and then with his sword he slices all the heads off. We get some nice gory imagery there. Well, not imagery in the book, but in my mind it felt badass, because there's an equal amount of killing on both the beast's end and Tom's end. So he slices all the beast's heads off, similar to how the Hydra worked. Only this time, this thing ain't gonna come back its heads, as the body melts and the heads fall to the and fade into the ocean. Probably melted too. With the body, it goes and melts into the Black Ocean, which creates a whirlpool. First at first I thought it was another danger, but it turns out it's another pathway to get home. So, using the red jewel they got, Tom communicates with Sephiron and leads him to the whirlpool. He dives in and thanks them, and then they're setting up for the next quest when Wizard Nadaro shows up and tells them of their next beast, Kamon. So, all in all, Naga is the best book of Series 3 so far. I've given some reasons of why it's so awesome and amazing, so I really recommend you would read this book, but in all, you have to read the other two books to help it make sense. I feel like this is the best one so far, and I'm looking forward to see, I was looking forward to see if Kamon, turns out she's a girl, and I didn't know that, but I thought that would be the best book, but you never know, it might be, but Naga is going to be one tough thing to beat. So can Kamon beat it as a better book? We'll see, because right now, Naga is my best book so far. So, here we are, Book 4, Kamon, the Gorgon Hound. In all honesty, I thought this would be the best book ever, even beating Naga. But in all honesty, I think it is on equal to good terms with Naga. So it came close. And I told you how amazing that book was. But let's start things off. Tom and Nana are looking for the next place to go to find the beast. They don't trust Malvel's map, but now that Tom has like the third jewel of Naga, he uses it to trust everything in his way. Then, in the second chapter, they find Nanook already, which is a surprise to have revealed the good beast so far. And in the first chapter, in the first chapter, they reveal Nanook, and in the second chapter, the Kaimon shows up. So you get both good and evil beasts straight off the bat. Kaimon does have a cool power that duplicates herself into 2 other extra versions just without the collar. Silver does try to attack Kaimon when she's single, but when she splits into 3, she gets overpowered and Silver gets weakened in the fight and needs medical attention. Tom wants to go after Kaimon because I want to fight you again, but when he sees Silver and needs help, he lets her go and says, I'll fight again. But now they know of her ability, so they can prepare for that. Apparently, they use Tom's Epos token and the broken bones thing to heal his injuries. They free Nanook. At first, I thought this Nanook was a fake or like one of Malvel's tricks, but no, it's the real thing. And they ask him to look after the animal companions while they go after Kaimon. I need to check my notes here. Tom, Yep. Now, they find a castle, and I think this is either Malvel's castle or either it's just a spare castle that Gorgonia has. Also the fact, speaking of Gorgonia, the Gorgon Hound, does that mean I'm assuming that means he's the Hound of Gorgonia, because I don't think, or he's either the Hound of a Gorgon, which is, if you don't know what a Gorgon is, it's basically that Medusa thing. Those are what they're called. So, I'm assuming this is the Hound of Gorgonia, and the Gorgon means that. That's what I'm assuming. But we'll go with that. Anyway, Tom and Nana find what I believe is Malvel's castle. I'm assuming it's Malvel's castle, but at the end of the book I may not think that, because Malvel's never there. Unless he doesn't just hang around his castle. Anyway, the point is, they go inside the castle, and eventually they see Kaimon there, but they hear some people crying. So, they go and free the people, who turns out to be rebels. And when they free them, Ko says, have you done the right thing? Says they're rebels against Malvel. Of course they're the good guys. But Ko just leaves and disappears and says, alright. Anyway, but Tom and Nana have a beast to beat, and because they've already freed Nanook, but the portal won't open until they beat Kaimon. So she's got to go. And yes, Kaimon is a girl, just to remind you. Even though I'm not wrong with that. But anyway, they go and fight Kaimon, and Tom is getting overpowered. But he does get a fighting chance with the golden armor abilities. But Tom realizes that he can't beat her by physical attacks. Eventually he loses his sword, he gets it back, and then he realizes to beat Kaimon he has to make her go back as one. So he leads her into some catacombs where she has to go back into one single being, and then they have a long chase sequence through the corridors. Eventually Kaimon gets tired, and Tom beats her that way. He leads her to the drawbridge where the rotten wood is. She follows him, and because she's a beast and she's way bigger than him, her weight collapses and she falls into the water and drowns. The portal opens and Nanook shows up with Silver. Now here's the thing that surprised me. They actually take Silver and Nanook back to Avantia. He may have had his wounds healed, but he's still exhausted from the fight he had in the early thing. So this book does have some relevancy, even though it's a good book in all entirely. It does have some relevancy to the plot, so it is worth reading for that. Even if you didn't like this book, it is worth reading for. To establish that they take out one of the main characters on the book. But I actually did like Kaimon. It's on par with Naga. Then again, I'll just check what else was there. Yeah, I would say that because SKOR was a bit better than TORGOR. TORGOR was probably the worst. Nothing against TORGOR because I told you how much I liked it, but it had too much setup. But I would put Kamon as equal terms with Naga because it did things the opposite way around. While Naga, you only saw him at the end, and there were all the other elements backed it up. There were all these other miniature things that built up, like the bounty hunter stuff, the quicksand stuff, and the chase scene, that all built up there. But here, it was different. Kamon and Nanook are revealed from the straight. That's new. We see we see lots of rebels, but Kurlo also got the right thing. That's something interesting to discuss. Silver attacks Kamon first. I'm assuming, I don't know why, because he's desperate or something. But the point is they take Silver out of the picture. That's new. So there's quite a lot of new and relevant things that puts this on par with Naga as my favourite book. That's why. But that is my thoughts on I was going to say Naga. Kamon. That is my thoughts on Kamon the Gorgon Hound. So next time I will be dealing Tusk. So see you next time on the Beast Quest series. Hi guys, welcome back to Beast Quest Series 3, Book 5, Tusk, the Mighty Mammoth. Right, this has got to be better than those other two books I mentioned. I'm sorry guys, it has to be. Tusk, the Mighty Mammoth, right now, in Series 3, is my favourite book so far. It beats Kamon, and it beats Naga, it beats them all. What was that other one? I forgot what the other one was. I think it was Naga. Yeah, it was Naga. Naga and Kamon. It beats those two. This is the number one now. And I said that Kamon and Naga were going to be hard to beat, but this one actually does it. So let's start things off. Well, Tom and Eleanor have just defeated Kamon, and as you know, Silver was taken away because he had to go to Avalia to get his wounds healed. And according to the map, Wizard Arrow shows up. They're fighting, and he says the max beast is Tusk, and it's pretty obvious what that is. It's a mammoth, because he explains it's pretty obvious. They figured it out for themselves. But Tusk is a mammoth, and they figure it out for themselves. And they check the map, and they see that big X where Adoria marked it in Book 3. They might be passing the rebel camp from there, because that's where the beast is near. So they go into a forest where the beast lays dormant or something, and they come across Furno. This is where he's imprisoned. However, there is something to be alerted here. Eleanor knows about a plant that is in this forest that is the only living thing. It's called snake ferns. Now, apparently, I'm guessing, snake ferns grow in Elena's part of Avantia, because she knows about how they work and function. Tom tries to communicate with Furno, even though he's off distance, he's not in the same site as him. But he does tell them on their way he's coming, and he tells them what to look out for, the double-bladed thing. And he doesn't know what that is, but basically, it's pretty obvious what the answer is. If not, I'll just say right now, the double-bladed thing is Mammoth representing her tusks. But it's not really that big of a surprise. Anyway, they avoid the snake ferns, but Elena gets captured by them. And there's a choice for Tom right here. He has to decide whether to free his friend or go and save Furno. Reluctantly, Elena convinces him to go and save Furno. But when he does that, well, you know what's going to happen right now. Tusk shows up. And there's the jewel right there, the cover. You can see it's greenish right here, but according to the book's writing, it's amber, so there's your end. It's amber. Tom... Let's see. Let's check my notes. Snake pants, that. Yep. Tom delivers another badass line, of course. Well, there's blood in my veins. I will defeat every beast you send, because Mallow is still communicating with him. Even Storm is with him. I forgot that. Storm is with him as he's running off. And even though they get separated from the mammoth in a small scuffle-ish fight, the mammoth, no, the horse, beats the sides of the mammoth with his hooves, so even though he doesn't do anything, it's something to mention because Storm mostly is a bit on the sidelines, so it's nice that he actually gets in there and does some action. But, moving on, where was I? I need to check that I missed that. Snake fans, Tom communicated, yep, here we are. Storm, yep. Tom gets tossed, yep, Tom gets tossed on Tusk's head to the ground. Yep. Okay, away from Inferno. Yep, okay. I know. Now Tusk here, apparently Tusk drives the fight to another spot. And eventually, he leads it back to Eleanor. He sees Eleanor. No, sorry, she sees Eleanor because Tusk is a girl. And which is odd because if she's a girl, why does she have tusks? I know it doesn't make any sense because, well, I'm guessing it's magic. A wizard did it. Malvo is a wizard after all. And she goes after Eleanor. Now, luckily Eleanor is able to break free from the snake fence just in time. However, as she falls, one of Tusk's tusks penetrates her skin. Turns out the tusks are poisonous. Tom takes the wounded Eleanor, leads the fight, loses Tusk under some bushes, and then decides that he has to get her to safety. After scuffling with, let's just scroll down the notes here. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes here, guys, but I need to recheck that I missed anything for you guys. Tom finds. Yep. You know, that's it. Tom lures the ferns, the snake ferns, actually onto Tusk, providing them enough time for Tom and Eleanor to escape. Yeah. They go to the rebel camp, to where Adora is on the X marked thing, but when they get there, no one answers. I remember this bit better because I read the first half and then I read the second half. So I think I remember this stuff better. Right, so they go to the rebel camp and they find that no one's answering. It turns out that the rebels have been captured by Gorgonian guards, and guess who's leading those guards? Well, it's Seth. I mean, Seth was back in book 2 of, from what I know, he was in book 2 of this series right? Thought he was only there for one book, but no, he's back again. Apparently he's like a major character now. You could see him as sort of Tom's rival character, counterpart, whatever, if you want to, it's up to you. But now that he's back, he's leader of the rebels, he's in the Gorgonian guards. And basically, Tom's new power from the last book is that he has a shadow. He sent the shadow to see what is behind the fences. Then Seth sees the shadow, which Seth follows the shadow back to Tom, and which leads the two of them into a sword fight that lasts a whole chapter. Now, Seth doesn't want his men getting involved, but they just watch the fight, which is a stupid thing because the rebels are free and they take back the camp. Seth and his men retreat, and of course, Adora is there too. Tom goes to her and explains that Eleanor's in poison, she needs a doctor now. Adora takes her to a medical woman and says that I've got a beast to kill, and says you stay here with her. But no, they don't stay here. Tom is not alone. They go with him and say we'll beat this beast together. We will not stand. We will run the second day of Malvel's wrath. We are going to fight for our land. Okay. I like this. I like the rebel. I like the fact that everyone is trying to help Tom beat a beast. It's not just Tom anymore. He's not alone. I know he's got his friends, but it's like he actually has the support of lots of people, and that's great. That is something new that the books have not done yet. This book has so many good twists like the others. If a book can do something new, it's a good point that makes it a better book for me. And so far this book has done a few things new. Yes, it's taken Ellen out, we've seen that before, but the way it takes her out is different. It adds some poison to it. You know, it does a bit of something more, but adding something extra to it. And when it's like, the book starts off with Tom has a power, and then he goes to Lord of the Forest, and then the snake ferns are built up. And then it goes to, what else it goes to? It goes to Tusk. Then Tusk goes back to Helena, and Elena's got poisoned, and then, oh my, it goes on and on. It's like an ongoing threat for Tom. Tom can't catch a break. But they go, now that they're together as an army, they go together as an army and split into two groups to try and coil up Tusk's body. Eventually, though, Tusk gets sick of this and has one final scheme up his head. He decides to go after Furno and kill him. So she almost does that, but Tom holds on tightly to her, nags her down. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, the rebels thought they might lose at one point, and they almost did, but who shows up? Ella and Storm show up and give them the winning edge. That's what I forgot to mention. They show up and give him the winning edge. Then Tusk goes after Furno, and it looks like she's gonna kill him. She strips off the snake ferns with her tusks, and before she can lay a fatal blow on the dragon, Tom takes his sword and slashes with all his strength, destroying the tusks, slicing them both right off. And when that happens, it's over. Tusk is no longer tusked. She turns into an archway and allows Furno a trip home, and even Tom says, "Rebels, you can go too." But they said, "What about our other friends back in the camp?" There's no choice. It's now or never. Adora eventually agrees. They jump in, and that's the end of book 5. However, there's one chapter left, and it's a warning from the gatekeeper. He says, "Was that the wise decision to do? You'd have no idea what effect this will have in Evarnia with Gorgonians there." So there is that sort of uneasy vibe that Tom is having in his mind. Was it the right thing to do? But right now there's one more beast to fail, and Eleanor says, "You can't worry about that right now, we've got to finish our beast quest." So, that was Tusk, the mighty mammoth. You can see why it's the best so far to me. Oh my god, was it such fun to read. Like I said, it's another one of those built-up books that builds up things. Like I said, where it builds up from the beast, and it builds up to the poison, and it builds up back to Helena, and it goes. Then they go take Eleanor to the camp, and then Seth is there again, and they have to fight Seth, and the Erebels come back and they take back the camp. Adora is there, Eleanor gives it to her, says, "You stay here, I've got to kill this beast." But no, they say, "We will fight with you," and then, oh, it looks like they're gonna lose, and Eleanor shows up. But then Tusk comes back with another punching knife and says, "No, I'll kill the beast," But Tom says, "No, you will not kill this beast. I will stop you." He grabs the beast and he kills it like that, slicing the horns right off. It's an amazing, totally breathless-taking book. It keeps going and going, and it looks like something. It's like each character is pushing back on this tugging rope. Oh my god. Tusk the Mighty Mammoth. Underrated on the cover to me, but boy was it an enjoyment to read. It just goes to show with a good read, a book can be interesting. And speaking of interesting, I have only one more book to go in Series 3. So, Sting, you've got a lot to look up to. Let's see how this series ends. See you next time, guys. Also, I just forgot to mention that Silver comes back in the book in the end. Sorry. So Silver comes back at the end, and he's ready to help out Eleanor, Tom, and Storm once again. The 4 companions are all back together to wrap up Series 3. Yeah, so that is the end of Book 5. See you back on Sting, Scorpion Man. Book 6 awaits us. Hi guys, welcome back to Beast Quest Series 3. Book 6, the last of Series 3. So, I'm going to give my thoughts last, at the end of this review, and this, but I won't get down to the story. On the prologue, the medicine woman sees a vision of Tom fighting the Scorpion Man, and doesn't look good. Okay? So we come to see our friends, and it turns out Arctur's token hasn't activated for quite some time. They don't trust the map, because it's Malvel, and Tom tries using his compass. However, when they go onto their route, they encounter a body of a wounded warrior. It is Seth. Oh my god, it's Seth, yeah. Turns out he has got arrows in him, probably from the attack from the last book where the archers or the rebels shot him or something. Now, of course, Eleanor says, "Don't heal me, he's a bad guy," but Tom has a good heart and he actually does heal him, despite Eleanor's, not to do it. He uses the talon to heal him. However, Sting isn't... wrong name. Seth isn't really that grateful, because he wanted to die. Why? Because Melville has a punishment for him if he fails. But since he was dead from the wounds, or he was nearly on the edge of dying, he wouldn't be able to fulfill his own punishment. And what was his punishment? Well, if he was alive, which he, thanks to Tommy, is, he would transform into the last of the evil beasts. That's right, Seth is Sting, the Scorpion Man. That was an unexpected twist I was not expecting to see. But then, as I soon saw Seth, and he was wounded, I was having this mind in my head, could he be? Nah, it couldn't be. But then, when I saw him saying he wanted to die, to the amount of punishment, I knew exactly where this was going. Yeah, Seth is the Scorpion Man. So Seth transforms now, and Malvel blocks them from trying to help him as the transformation occurs. And then he tells Seth to go and guard Arctur, because that's your job now. He has a purple jewel embedded on his tail, which you can see here. And he goes off to the Western City, which is where Malvel's castle is. Because a while back I said that the rebels or something there was this other castle that I thought was Malvel's castle, but I was wrong. This is actually Malvel's castle in the Western City. So they go there, and they do find they find a well before they get there, and it's a way to get, and they're trying to find a way underground, but it turns out that was a wrong route. So they find that the Curlo, the gatekeeper, he's back again, and he says that some advice. They're right near the gates of the castle eventually, and they find that the gatekeeper, he's really once was a good wizard who was put under a service by Malvel as the gatekeeper because he was too weak to find him. So, but he's really on the side of good, and he helps them to the Western City. There's 3 routes they need to take, but Tom uses compass to find the right route. It leads them into the catacombs. Wait, I'm missing something. Alright. Before they go into that, they use the compass to find the right route. Then they find these 2 guards, and this is a really good scene. They knock out the guards say, "Well, we're travelers." And they say they're travelers, and the guards are like smart, and they say, "Oh no, you're not. You're really those. You're really them. You're really them wanted people, aren't you?" They just kick the shit out of them, take their robes, but of course they're eventually discovered by the civilians, and they chase them after their bounty, but they manage to get inside they make it to Malvel's castle, and Tom opens the gate and heads down with his friends. They head down to the catacombs. This is where I'm at. They head down to the catacombs, and Tom finds all these tombs of dead warriors, one of which being the name of Taladon, his father. Tom, desperate to know answers, thinks that his father might be dead. So he opens the tomb, and of course, there is no body. Turns out Malvel has plans to kill him, though. However, there's a nice funny gag here with one of the tombs saying Memnon on it, a reference to the Scorpion King, of course, which I'm assuming this book is based upon. So it's a nice little I don't know if it was intentional to make a reference, but it's there. I like it. Memnon. Scrolling down, let's see. They find Arctur in a giant tomb. Tom's having trouble breaking the lock. He only but with the power of friendship of Eleanor helping him, and a full power of the golden armor, they break free from the chains. However, Sting is back. So Tom faces Sting, and he manages to chop off the tail with the jewel. So Eleanor grabs the jewel, and they have it. Arctur breaks free, finally. However, Sting, in his weakened state, escapes, and they chase after him. However, he escapes a bit too ahead because of so many legs, and he has just enough strength to open the large iron gate and leave them locked in the chambers. They try to put enchanted spells so they won't escape, but Tom figures he might be trapped there forever. However, he still has the purple jewel. He uses it, and it opens up way home to Avantia. Everyone goes through it, and they're back in King Hugo's palace, and all is well again. Before they go through the portal, Malvo has this hate recipe, I hate you, Tom, and I will get my revenge, or something like that. But all is well. The castle crumbles in Gorgonia, and all the rebels fly everywhere, and all the heroes and everything's put right. Arctur's sent back to the mountains. Storm and Silver are enjoying the feast in the stables, and there's nice meat and stuff. But Eleanor asks Tom, "Why aren't you happy? Malvel and Seth are gone." However, he smiles back and says, "Are they real?" He's thinking to himself, "Is this really the last we'll see of Malvel and Seth?" I don't know, because we don't see Seth and Malvel actually die in the book, but they are presumed dead by the rubble of the castle falling on them. But I don't think it'll take that to kill them, so who knows? Might we see him again? But that is the end of Book 6, and of course the end of the Series 3. So, in all, this book entirely, would I call it better? If it wasn't for, like I said in the last review, a book needs to be new to get my interests employed. I'm gonna say, for what they did on this book, I want to say it's the best book ever. But I'm gonna put it, equal terms. Do I want to put it equal terms? Yeah, I'll do it. I'm going to put it on equal terms to Tusk for me. It's just a tiny bit better than Tusk in my personal opinion. If I want to make it the best, but it's just a tiny bit better. But overall, I'm just going to make it equal there. So it's really good. I recommend. It's a good finale for the Series 3. It leaves just as much hope, hesitation, enough questions for Series 3's finale. So this was Series 3. I hope you enjoyed it. And it's still only a matter of time until I get in the post next time for Series 4. Until then, that'll be the end of Beast Quest Reviews until I come back with Series 4. So, thanks for enjoying it, and until next time, guys. Peace.